Human Rights and Environmental Due Diligence, HREDD. In 2022, numbers show that only 16% of companies worldwide address their human rights and environmental impacts over the supply chain. Human Rights and Environmental Due Diligence, HREDD, requirements have been getting more attention lately, and rightly so. Thus, on February 23, 2022, the European Commission adopted a proposal. What do human rights and environmental due diligence mean? HREDD is a process meant for companies to efficiently identify, prevent, mitigate and account for the negative impacts of their activities or those of their subsidiaries, subcontractors, and suppliers, as defined by the European Coalition for Corporate Justice, ECCJ. Supply chains are complex patterns. It is no secret that chain supplies have truly long and complex patterns. Companies may find it complicated to demonstrate due diligence in such global trade models. Some even do responsible themselves by arguing that they do not influence their supply chain. Nevertheless, socio-environmental regulations apply to many businesses. Conflict minerals, human trafficking, and other environmental regulations are some examples. What are HREDD obligations to companies and their managers? The EU HREDD rules include several specifications for businesses. They have a due diligence duty to identify, end, prevent, mitigate, and account for all mines, manufacturers, and factories that harm their supply chain. Certain companies must set a planned strategy to ensure that their business meets the Paris Agreement on global warming. Company managers ought to oversee the implementation of due diligence within their business. What are the benefits of environmental due diligence? Since there is no possible way of controlling what happens within the supply chain, there must be a way to implement control from the outside. HREDD policy implements such control. In 2020, the European Commission organized a public consultation in which citizens were asked their opinion on the matter. Benefits of showing human rights and environmental due diligence. For companies, improved risk management. Helped companies keep good track of any shift in the chain. Upgraded awareness of negative impacts. Harmonized legal framework across the EU. For consumers, transparent and sustainable supply chain, towards more eco-friendly and responsible purchases. Protection of human and labor rights. Healthier environment. Greater trust in companies. For developing countries, enhanced protection of human and environmental rights. Increased awareness about sustainability issues. Improved living conditions for people. Better access to justice for victims. What if companies do not respect their obligations? Failing to meet the HREDD requirements generates sanctions on both administrative and civil levels. Justice for victims is the main point of these procedures. Voluntary guidelines towards human rights and environmental due diligence. Guidelines on how businesses should act are voluntary but useful to demonstrate due diligence. The United Nations published the Guiding Principles on Businesses and Human Rights, UNGPs, in 2011. It is based on 3 pillars: protection, respect, and remedies. It is a step-by-step actionable operation addressed to governments and companies. Published in 2011, OCED's guidelines for multinational enterprises are the second main guidelines. They are similar to the former, but they adapt to multinational enterprises. Environmental, social, and governance (ESG) criteria are used to make sure the investments made by companies are made responsibly. Despite being voluntary, the guidelines above are helpful when addressing socio-environmental concerns. Do you have more questions about human rights and environmental due diligence? Contact EnviroPass.